Okay. Gonna turn on all the instances. Let's just give it a little time until the checks are completed here on this column. What I'm gonna be doing is we're gonna be setting up Active Directory domain services. We're gonna install packages on RHEL that we'll need to have that client machine join the domain in our Windows Server machine. Okay, looks like the checks have passed. Let's sign into each machine just to make sure that it's working. We're gonna SSH. And I'm gonna open up PowerShell, paste that in. My key is saved in downloads folder, so I'm gonna cd change directory to the downloads folder. We're gonna paste that. Yes. Okay. Clear. We're in. Post name cat. Let's see. Red Hat release. Okay, looks good. And cd into our root directory. Okay, cool. Looks good on this end. Now let's go over to Windows Server 2019. I'm gonna connect to it. RDP. Get password. Upload. Key. Get that password. Let's download this. Connect. Put in the username. Check this, click yes, and looks like we're logging in. Okay. So this is good. Alright, so far so good. We're going to open up Task Server Manager. Well, first things first. I guess this is just a habit, but it's always good practice to it's always good practice to make your servers IP address static, so that's what I'm going to do now. Just pin this to the taskbar. PowerShell. Ten 0121. 10-01-21. 01-21. 255. And the gateway is 10. address for the DNS. And what that basically means is that it's going to point to itself, because this will be our DNS server too. This part always scares me. Sometimes I get nervous that I'm just not able to get access anymore, but fortunately that worked out well. Okay. Just want to double check. Okay, cool. So that's done. I also want to allow pinging ICMP. So I'm going to go to the firewall. So that we can allow that's not that. Firewall Defender with advanced security. That's what we're looking for. And we're gonna look for ICMP protocol, specifically ICMP4. That way we can ping the server and make sure it's connected and running from our RHEL machine. All we're gonna do is just enable that. And let's see if there's anything we should enable here. No, we don't need to use printers. We don't need to involve printers, but that's good. Okay, so now we've made the IP address for this server machine static. What we're gonna do is go ahead and add roles and features, and we're gonna set up Active Directory. Alright, I'm gonna begin the wizard and just click next all the way through the server roles, and we're gonna check Active Directory domain services and click OK, and DNS services and services, click continue. Then we're gonna click next all the way through and install. Okay, looks like it's been completed. Configuration required. Installation succeeded on this machine. That's the machine. That's the host name here. You can go ahead and click close and click on the notification flag. And it's going to say to promote the server to a domain controller. And that's what I'm going to do. This is a new forest. There's no previous domain controller, so I'm going to put in the domain name for this environment, and we're going to call it test.com, I guess, yeah. I'm going to click next. Going to set up a password. Type this carefully. Okay, click next. Click next. Wait till the NetBIOS domain name appears here, and you can go ahead and click next. 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 And then go ahead. We can ignore this stuff for now. And we're gonna click go ahead and click install. Okay, it'll automatically reboot the system on its own. Just go ahead and click OK and just wait a few minutes and then reconnect. And then go ahead and reconnect through RDP again. If it doesn't connect or it fails to connect, just wait a few more minutes. It should start soon. If you get this error, just click OK and just wait a few more minutes. Okay, let's try again. And there we go. Check, click yes. And wait for it to boot up completely. Okay, we're back up. Let's see what the situation is with our server manager. We'll go ahead and open PowerShell as well. There should be a ADDS populating here. That stands for Active Directory Domain Services. But let's go ahead and verify through PowerShell. Okay. Sometimes it can be a bit slow because remember I chose T2 micro, which isn't too fast. So, also everything is like loading up at the same time right now, so there we go. We got ADDS and our DNS server. I'm just trying to get PowerShell to behave right now so we can verify that our Active Directory has been installed. Come on. Can we close it? Okay, so we're going to put get AD test.com, our domain. That's our domain. This is our FQDN, fully qualified domain name. Okay, looks good. And let's see if our DNS has been set up as well. Yep, set up to this IP address. This is our domain. Cool. So we're good in that end. Now we're gonna open up Active Directory users and computers. And we're going to set up a few accounts that RHEL can use to connect to authenticate to. And here, we're going to create a organizational unit. And we're going to call it Linux users. Click OK. And within this, we're going to create 2 users. One is going to be bind user, and the login name is also going to be bind user. I'm going to uncheck that and check password never expires. Give it a password. Go ahead and click next and finish. And we're going to do this one more time, and we're going to create another user called Linux user 1. Same as before. And we're gonna put in password. Go ahead and click next and finish. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and click view and click advanced feature. This will show more of the organizational units available in Active Directory. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into the Linux user properties and give it some attributes that RHEL is gonna need to connect this account, Linux user account. I'm gonna right click on the Linux user 1, go to properties and attribute errors. I'm gonna look for UID and set it to 1001. UID number 1001. Make it 10,001. And we're gonna do the same for group ID number. So GID number. Oh, bear with me. And we're gonna set up the home directory too. So we're gonna look for Unix home directory so it can properly synchronize file system. Unix home directory, there we go. And we're gonna put home Linux user 1. And our login shell will be bin bash login shell. Look for login shell. Login shell. So it could match the file structure in Linux bash. Click OK, apply, OK, and we're good. Okay, now we're gonna head over to our Linux machine, to RHEL. Clear. First I want to see if we can even see any connection to the server. So what's the IP address for this again? The IP address for our Windows server is 10.0.1.21. Ping 10.0.1.21. And it's pingable. Okay. Now IP is IP address. So our IP address for this RHEL machine is 10.0.197. Let's ping that from our Windows server. Okay, behave PowerShell, please. There we go. We're gonna ping 10.0.1.97, I believe. Yeah, 97. Let's see if we can ping that. Come on. Ping 10.0.1.97. Okay, and we can ping that. So now what we're gonna do is close out Network Manager CLI, show the configurations. This is our network interface, ETH0. We're gonna link this interface and make our IP address from Windows Server to be our DNS server in Linux. So pconfig 10.0.1.21. So we're gonna do nm CLI, configure and modify it. This system name. IPv4.DNS 10.0.1. Was it 27? 21. Okay, so 21. We're gonna make this IP address our DNS for this system, for this machine. And then we're gonna CLI configure and start this up. Successfully activated. Okay, that's a good sign. And let's go. We're gonna use the domain names test.com. I'm gonna use nslookup test.com. Oh god. Okay, let's do a DNF update and DNF upgrade. Okay, we're gonna click yes. We don't have those networking tools, so we're gonna install them. Now we're gonna do a big test. As you can see, we can definitely see our DNS server here. It's resolving this private IP address to test.com, which is a good sign. Now we're gonna install tools that'll join this RHEL machine into our domain, and it's gonna be DNF install line t d LDAP and LDAP configure that. Now we're going to configure the SSSD file. So I'm going to do vi etc config. Okay, so this SD services SS domains test.com, and we'll have domain slash test.com ID provider LDAP auth provider LDAP LDAP 0.0.1.21, and LDAP's port is 389. LDAP search is equals distinguish DC test and DC com LDAP default bind equals cn bind user bind user with the organizational unit of Linux users. DC and our domain is test. DC com. Name LDAP underscore default off token. And this is going to be a password that's attached to the common name user account bind user. You see a mistake there. LDAP schema. There. Okay. LDAP user underscore object schema FC 2307 LDAP user object class equals user. LDAP underscore user underscore name account name. LDAP user UID number equals UID number. LDAP user underscore GID underscore number equals GID number. LDAP user underscore home directory equals Unix home directory. This is coming from the attributes that we did in the Active Directory on the Windows server. user underscore show equals show LDAP underscore group underscore object source class equals group LDAP underscore group underscore name equals common name. LDAP underscore group underscore JD underscore right equals JID number. LDAP underscore ID underscore mapping equals false. Enumerate equals true. Cache credentials equals true. Default shell equals bin slash dash fallback underscore home directory equals home user and I believe we're done. Okay, so this line means that it's enabling two services, NSS and PAM. Now, NSS is a name service switch. It allows Linux to resolve users and groups using LDAP. And for PAM, it handles authentication through LDAP. And this is obviously our domain that we're using on the Windows Server machine. And within the domain, we're setting up ID provider and authentication provider through LDAP. So what the first one does is LDAP is going to be looking for IDs like user IDs, group IDs, and anything related to the account. As for auth providers, it's going to look for passwords that's attached to the account, and this defines the URI path. And if you notice, this is our Windows Server IP address, and LDAP port is defaulted to 389. This is our LDAP search base. Basically, LDAP is going to look into this domain, test.com. And we're utilizing the bind user account as a way, as sort of like a middleman to authenticate, which is using this. It adds a layer of security rather than directly connecting to the Linux user 1 account. And this is only a read-only bind user in Active Directory. Now this schema is particularly used for an Active Directory to store groups and members and domain names and stuff like that. And right here, the object class, this is what we edited in the attributes section of Active Directory when we created a Linux user 1. You can think of this as like a template for user instances. So this is basically a template for Linux user 1, even though it doesn't explicitly say Linux user 1, but we can also attach this to other users. And over here, this just represents groups in Active Directory, and it's very similar to the users instances. The users template is basically a group template that the account may be attached to. Now this disables the creation of UIDs and user IDs and group IDs, and upon the creation of an user when you enable this, you have SSD created, but for this, we don't really need it. Enumerate all. This allows for you to sort of see the entire list of users and groups. Cache credentials. This temporarily saves passwords. Even if LDAP is down, because it's cache, you can still log in using the credentials. Default shell sort of maps out where bash is located in RHEL and sort of syncs that with Active Directory. Fallback home directory. This sets up a home directory where if Unix home directory is not available, if there is none of that, then it'll fall back to this home directory structure. And we're gonna save this. We're gonna change some file permissions here. Let's see, sd.conf. So this chmod 600 is set up to where the file owner of this file is the only one who has read and write access. And let's do a change on ownership to root. Let's see, sd.conf. Chown changes the ownership of this file to the user root and the group root. And we're gonna restart SSD. Restart SD. Okay, and let's look at the status. See, it's enabled and it's active and running. Password. Linux user 1. Let's see if we can gather that. That's a good sign. So we're gonna do su Linux user 1. And there we go. As you can see, I am currently as Linux user, as user Linux 1. Although we've authenticated, we can authenticate as Linux user 1, we still haven't added RHEL, the RHEL machine into our Active Directory. So we can authenticate with an account, but we don't have the machine available in our Active Directory, and that's what we're going to do right now. So what we're going to do, let's exit out of the Linux user. I'm going to do dnf install RHEL Active Directory CLI. Samba. We're using Samba because we'll need that if you're running RHEL 8 and above. Common tools. Kerberos 5 workstation. Let's wait to install that. Clear realm discover test.com. We want to see if realm is able to see our domain, and we can. As you can see, this is our domain, test.com, which is a good sign. Test.com. Okay, let's try that one more time. Cool. Let's refresh, and as you can see, that's our computer.